awakening for Manchester United's interim manager following on from their 5-2 win against Leicester in midweek in the League Cup. It's a 1-1 draw against Chelsea in a game that offered very little. 11 shots for Manchester United, 12 for Chelsea, 4 on target compared to 3 on target, with an XG of nearly 2 for Manchester United. Remember, that includes the penalty as well, and 1.53 for Chelsea. 20 Manchester United touches in the Chelsea box. Only one of them all game was for Rasmus Højlund. 94 passes in the final third compared to 114 for Chelsea. And Manchester United's possession of 46% is the second lowest that they've had so far this season. Roy, if Ruben Amorim is watching this, as he will be, trying to assess the scale of the job that he has in front of him, what do you think he will have come away thinking?
He should have signed a longer contract.
Because this is going to take longer.
There's a long way back for this team. I know, listen, a manager will come in, you hope he will get more out of this group, but this is an average United team. All the stats back it up. We keep, I suppose, repeating ourselves, and we come and watch Man United again today. You don't know what you're going to get with them. They could have won the game. They had a couple of chances toward the end, but you're looking also thinking there's a good chance they're going to lose it. It's hit and miss. Not good. It's not good. It's just, even when you're watching, I hate using the word, this United team's almost boring, seems a bit strong, but you're just looking, the lack of conviction in the chances. It kind of suited them a bit better towards the end. It was a bit open. You're thinking, listen, you seem to be getting more chance when the game was open. But really disappointed, so flat. Even the fans must be disappointed. But from the manager's point of view, this team, they're way off in terms of getting back into that top four and competing. Really disappointing performance. When
you say they're an average team, do you mean the way that they work together collectively, or do you mean that as a group of players,
I think a bit of everything.
Average players?
I think a bit of everything. As a team, you look at them and you look at certain individuals, and maybe we think they're better than what they are, some of them. They've got established international players. You come and watch them. You hang your hat on a team sometimes, but you look at them and you go, well, technically they're very good, or they're big and strong and physical, or United are a bit... They're just kind of average at everything. They're not very good at anything special. And the lack of goals is still hard to believe. But then when you look at some of the chances they've created and the opportunities they're missing, you're going, well, that's why managers lose their jobs here. And that's why you're down on the table. And that's why the goals record is what it is. Not good enough. Obviously, again, today was a set piece. The goal they got, penalty is a set piece. They gave away a goal from a set piece. So it's proper hit and miss, but more likely it's going to be a miss. And if the United fans are coming here today, United fans must be going away today scratching their heads and this is, again, it was very quiet at Old Trafford today. We mentioned before the game there might be a reaction with the manager leaving and Ruud on the sideline, but it wasn't. They were just sitting there hoping something might happen, not necessarily believing something would happen, and the game, I was glad when the referee blew the final whistle. I wasn't getting too excited with it.
Manchester United waiting on the arrival of their new full-time manager in Amorim. There's still a little while to go until he comes in and meets the players and takes charge. So they're at a different stage of their journey from Chelsea, where they've had a few months under Enzo Maresca, and it seemed like it was coming together. What did you make of today's performance, Frank?
I think it underwhelmed slightly. I think the game underwhelmed two teams. I just think it was an opportunity here. Now, I think Manchester United are never there for the taking, because I think this place, Old Trafford, and the players at Manchester United still have in their team moments of quality, obviously, can always affect the game, and it kind of did. But I think how Chelsea have been playing, I think they're quite confident in what they're trying to do. They've got offensive players at the top of the pitch. In Cole Palmer wasn't quite as effective in the game as we've seen him recently. Neto, Madueke in the first half, Jackson, you're looking at this game, we're watching it, and you're kind of going, there's a real opportunity here to go 1v1 or some speed or find a pass. And they just kept missing passes, really, missing the final pass, missing that bit of, you go, come on, let's see what you've got. So I think they'll be disappointed. But then I suppose if you're on the flip side and you want to go, where are they in the process? OK, they're getting better. And it might be a game like this, we were saying, we've all played them, where you come away and it's a bit of a messy game, and you come away, you go, OK, let's move on. How can we improve? So I think a bit disappointing, because it was an opportunity, not the end of the world, but you want to see a bit more than what they showed at the top end of the pitch, particularly for me. And they got a bit sloppy in the second half. Some of the passing. It's like, if you're going to go to the next level and bridge the gap that's clearly there, it's OK, can we be really efficient in all the things that we try and do? And they want quite that today.
Jamie, as a game, what do you think it offered?
Well, up until the goal, it was really poor. It was a tough watch. It was really difficult. Lack of quality, lack of composure, players making mistakes, ball bouncing up. It looked like a pub game at times. It genuinely did when you think about these are the Premier League players, the top of the top, and they didn't show that. And it was hard to watch. The only thing I will say from United's point, I've seen them worse this season. They've had worse performances. I looked at some games when they've just been like outclassed, outthought in every department, not winning individual battles. It was difficult. Amorim coming in, he's not... I mean, until the players and he can start to work with them and starts to get his shape and how he wants them to play, he's undoubtedly going to play three at the back. That's what he does. It's going to be hard for us to really tell because I look at that United team and I can't figure out if some of them aren't necessarily good players or they're just so devoid of any confidence and any idea of what they're doing. So until we actually see them maybe giving them the benefit of the doubt, there's absolutely no doubt he's got to change players. Personnel, people have to leave. There's been players that have been here too long, seen off too many managers. There has to be some kind of changes. But until he comes in, he'll have his own ideas. So we're going to have to just wait and see what he wants.
United, when you look at United, they're just playing moments, isn't it? They'll have the little moments of quality, as we saw with the ball for Casemiro for the goal. But that's nowhere near good enough for a Man United team. You can't just depend on moments. You've got to have a structure. You've got to have a way of playing, a desire, even when a goal up, see the game out, to concede within 4 minutes. You've got to dig deep.
That might be the flip of it for the new manager, though. He might see that as a little bit of a blank canvas for him, in a sense of... I think it's normal, I think, when you're a manager and a job's in front of you and you take it. We're sitting here and critiquing this game, but he'll be going, well, confident, because he comes across very confident. He'll be going, well, that's what I can improve. I can improve that. And the basics of the game are, what's your structure? How compact are you off the ball? Manchester United, I think Gary mentioned in the co-coms, probably the worst pressing team in the league. It's Manchester United. That can't be right. You've got to make sure that you've got capacity to run and desire to run. And when I watched that, all the modern teams now that can press have wingers that will run back and forward and back and forward.
But what you don't want to have a team is, you know, when you're speaking to opposition players and teams, Man United are easy to play against.
Yeah.
Chelsea weren't good enough to punish them today, because again, it's still difficult for certain teams to come here and win. But they had plenty of joy, they had plenty of opportunities. I don't think they'd be in the dressing room after the game, the Chelsea players going, oh my God, we got out of... we managed to get a point at Old Trafford today. They thought, we kind of let United off the hook today, because they weren't at their best.
There's two ways to look at it. I suppose you look at what Liverpool and Arne Slot had to... He had a team already there with a style of play, an understanding, good culture at the club. So probably an easier job for him, although I thought it wouldn't be, but he's certainly made it look easy. Whereas for Amorim now, he's going to come in and thinking, what have I got here? Why has this group of players seen off so many managers? Why have they been so poor at times? You know, obviously they've had moments when they've won cups, but what can I do to change the mindset, the philosophy, just to make them more combative in games, you know, because that's the thing that Roy said at the start of the show. Are they going to run? When you see this team, they get outrun in so many games. How does he change that mindset? That's going to be the hard thing for me.
Yeah, it could be a tough task ahead of him. But as you said, it's a team of moments, Manchester United. They did have their moment when they got awarded the penalty. I don't think there's any question as to whether it is, certainly when you look back at it.
No, it's a brilliant ball in. And we were critical of Hoyland for not getting the right positions or getting the opposition box. Doesn't take a great touch, gets helped out with the goalkeeper. And we all probably agree it probably is it is a penalty, obviously. He does catch him.
I mean, this is his only touch in the box, Hoyland, which we'll come back to.
He'll be disappointed he's not scored himself here. Of course, the team ended up scoring, because these are important moments for him. You're not going to get many chances, especially if you're not in the box. But he's in there, and it's a good lesson for him. If you get in there, players will hopefully, like Casemiro and Bruno, pick you out.
There's something about him I like, actually. I think there's a keenness, and he wants to do well for the club. You can feel that, and that being his one touch in the box. For me, when you look at it, and there's waiting to see if it goes in, which is an interesting moment.
Like that one,
I know, lovely to see.
But I just think with Hoyland, I feel for him, because a lot of those moments that Roy talks about, sort of counter-attack, fast things happen, it's quite hard for him to sort of get up and be in the box. They don't spend enough time up the pitch controlling a game, where he can be in the box and keep making constant movement. So that's why that's his one little moment he's had today.
Yeah, and it was a really well-taken penalty by Bruno Fernandes, and managed to put Manchester United 1-0 up. And look, Ruud van Nistelrooy is only temporarily in this
How do you think Eric Ten Hag would be feeling watching that? You know, Jock said when you see...
Where's my Rolnick? He stole his Rolnick, hasn't he?
You want my cardigan?
Look, they were only ahead, though, for 4 minutes, because that goal from Caicedo was such a well-hit strike, wasn't it?
It was, and the hard bit about this for him is that it takes these balls that come out of the air and take a bit of time. You've really got to focus and keep your eye on the ball.
Not a great header, do you think that? I don't know, am I being harsh? Is he stretching again? Little details?
Yeah,
Do you know?
yeah, maybe, yeah. You're heading into an area which is still a dangerous area. But I think that skill there of keeping your eye on the ball and then staying over it, I don't think it's something he's completely known for. I'm not sure how many times he will do that. He's not known to do that. I thought he had a really good game. He was the best player on the pitch. It's a really clean strike, and he did well to stay over. But they can end up kind of going anywhere. He caught hold of it really well.
Because it was a difficult time. When he first signed from Brighton, there was obviously a big fee. He didn't settle very well, struggled, and there was a lot of question marks about him. But now you're seeing the real Caicedo that we saw at Brighton, where he was fantastic. He was everywhere, a little bit like Kante, wasn't he? Cover every blade of grass, going forward. Interception right at the end of the game, which was so important for his team. I thought he was different class today. And that's what you got your money on for. That's what you're spending big money on, because it did take a lot of time for him to settle down. I don't think the balance with him and Enzo Fernandez is right. He looks much better with Lavia, who's got more pace, more energy to get around the pitch. And as you said, Frank, you scored plenty of goals from outside the box. That's not an easy finish either, is it?
It's interesting as well that you say that the balance is better with Lavia, because it was seen as Chelsea being maybe a little bit greedy in the transfer market to go for two players in that position. That maybe that might just be one for first team and one for backup. But it's actually not how it's worked out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you do need extra players. You need a squad. But I think because Enzo Fernandez was the first one that came to the club for a lot of money, I think people sort of their eyes are on him, and now Lavia came at a lesser amount and was injured for quite a while. But I think when you talk about balance, Caicedo can do a lot of that. It's more positional than Kante, but I see exactly what you mean, winning things back. And Lavia can certainly receive and pass forward and find a bit more of a cute pass through lines than I think either of the others. So for Enzo now, he'll have to work hard, Fernandez, to get back into the team, because them two do look a good balance.
It's chemistry, isn't it? It's chemistry relationship with the players. Doesn't mean say one better than the other, but just the two of us seem to work better than the other, and that's it. It's the chemistry between two players. Same with the centre halves. Sometimes you just have a good partnership, and that seems to be working for Chelsea at the moment.
When it works for Manchester United, when they do get forward and they have those opportunities, what works for them? What would you take away from this?
Do you know, with United with them, I don't mind necessarily they're just playing in moments, as long as they take these chances. Like this again, lovely ball, Rashford a bit, no conviction in his finishing. So when it's kind of off the cuff stuff, I know Gary was critical, but that's just the way this United team play. And almost when the game's chaotic, United team is if they're going to end up scoring goals. And these are good chances. But can actually hit a chance like that against West Ham last week? Could Bruno give him a softer pass? Maybe. But just that little bit of composure. And that's the quality you need. And these United players at this moment in time certainly aren't scoring enough chances and not taking these opportunities. So again, I generally don't mind if it's just sometimes moments, as long as you're brilliant and clinical in these moments. This is a difficult chance, obviously. Would have been a great goal, but again, we go back to, can you hit the target? Difficult chance, that. But I think sometimes when it's almost off the cup with United, they look a bit better. When it's structured, maybe. Particularly for the attacking players. Look, this is where we're seeing Chelsea obviously trying to win the game, and this is where it becomes a bit open. And I think this is the big chance because of Bruno's quality. He scored a penalty, he scored a couple during the week with his confidence, and you're always expecting him at his very best. He's hitting the target, but there you go, maybe sums up United performance at the moment. It's just a bit all over the place. Yeah,
and that consistency might well be the hardest thing to work on. If you know the players have got that in moments in the game, how do you kind of stretch that out over the 90 minutes?
Well, I think we'll find out with a new manager. It feels like the new voice and a new approach, talking about the structure of the team. I think it's too broken. They're far too big in and out of possession. I think they need to work out how they can get better connections through the team, better partnerships through the team. I think that will all help consistency. And individually, the players all have to show a bit of humility to the new manager. Go, we're going to show that we want to play for this club. And I'm not taking away. I don't think there wasn't a lack of effort today. It's not. The chaos is kind of everywhere. I think the effort is still there, but I think the fresh start and going back to the basics of what they want to be. And then you might go, OK, once we do the basics right, then we'll see the talent. Then we'll see our confidence start coming back in individuals within that. At the minute, it's like, if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, oh no. Like, it's very up and down at the minute.
And with all the big players there, when the new manager comes in, you have to say with the big players, who've won big trophies, some of them, you have to leave your ego at the door. This is about rebuilding Man United and get back to competing. And that's what you have to get the team together. I don't see a team out. I'm not saying for 1 second some of them aren't trying, of course, and it's all disjointed, but you've got to get that structure of a team of personalities and characters and quality to go, this is where we think Man United can get back competing towards the top of the table. Because this group, they don't seem to have it at this moment in time. And a new voice, three at the back, maybe you have to try something different, because the madness for all of us is coming every week to watch Man United and expecting something different. This is the norm now for Man United.
I don't know how they train, because I'm not privy to what they do in the training pitch, but good habits, and that's what the manager's going to have to do every single day, making sure that players run, making sure they chase, making sure when you haven't got the ball, when you have to work hard to get it back. And when I see them sometimes, when I watch, it's like they do play off the cuff in a way but that organisation will help. But I always feel when I've played against Roy's Man United sides or the best sides that they played, they had that chaos a little bit. All of a sudden they'd throw 2 centre-forwards on and make it more difficult to throw another forward onto the pitch. So they've always had that. But I just feel that I don't know if they have good habits, and that has to come from the training field as well.
But even the West Ham game last week, United, the first half, your manager's under huge pressure. Players are missing great chances, and they're walking back, and you got to get a hold of these lads. Hit the target. These are big chances. These are top quality players. Missing open goals. Dallo missed a chance last week, and people keep telling me he's a good player. Put the ball in the back of the net. Keep your manager's job for another couple of weeks at least. And they're missing. They're all walking back, and they're kind of apologising. Sorry, I'm sorry. Stop you saying sorry. Put the ball in the back of the net. Keep everyone happy.
Should Lisandro Martinez be apologising for his challenge, do you think, on
lucky
Colwell?
boy, the lads, yeah, lucky boy. Lucky
Cole
boy.
Palmer, rather.
Honestly, yeah, obviously he won't be happy with Parma making a fool of him here. Obviously, he's gone in there, and this is a great bit of skill, and it's a nasty tackle. Obviously, I'm always wary with me criticising players for tackles because I've done some daft stuff, so maybe I'll hand this over.
Maybe you're the best person to judge.
Maybe.
You've done some worse than that.
Well, that's a yellow then to me. No, no, he's a lucky boy. I don't think he does catch him properly. It's down the side of his leg. That's the way I'd look at it. But if he got sent off, I'd say there'd be no complaints. We couldn't sit here and say...
I think it's a red card for intention. I don't think he does get probably as much contact as you might have done at certain times back in the day. But I do think that it's for the intention, bit of skill. He knew he was late, and he's gone, I'm just going to leave a bit on you.
The VAR
That's nasty. I think it's a red
The VAR
card.
said
Nice
reckless, not dangerous.
No, it's reckless, it's nasty. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's made to look a fool, and he's just coming and just thought, have some of that. I don't think you can
If
do
he was
that
sent off,
anymore.
I don't think
Absolutely.
we'd be
And he's got it. He's just got that nasty streak in him. He don't mind a bit of aggression, but look how high he gets his leg there. Look, there's no need for it.
That's a sore one. He'll be feeling that for a while.
But is it dangerous? Does it meet the threshold then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
potentially.
Look, he might say because he slipped a little bit, but he knows what he's doing.
But every tackle is dangerous in a sense when you go in and it's quick and the player moves the ball quickly, of course. But I put it this way, Martinez knows what he's doing. He's thinking he's definitely not getting by me after he's flicked it over my head.
Yeah.
And it was late in the game, and then there was of course, Manchester United held on for that 1-1 draw, but they were ahead in the game through Bruno Fernandes, who scored the penalty for them, and he's with Patrick Davison. Obviously, he's looking ahead to working with the new manager, but I thought his comments on Erik ten Hag were interesting, particularly coming off the back of what you were saying about players apologising to each other for a misplaced pass or a wayward shot. What do you make of players apologising to managers after the manager's been sacked?
Too little, too late.
Did any players ever apologise to you or anything?
Yeah, one or two did, yeah.
What did you?
Yeah, a swift response, let me tell you. Yeah. No, listen, these are always awkward interviews for players, and but no, I wouldn't have much time and patience for a player to say, listen, sorry, we've let you down. Too little, too late. You know, you're judged what you do on the football pitch, and I don't think Bruno had done enough in a lot of the games where he didn't show that leadership. So it'd be interesting to hear what obviously Ten Hag has to say about it. But you also have to move on. Listen, a lot of players don't care that much when a manager goes to just focus on the next manager coming in. They get ready, they look after themselves. Of course, that's part of the game. Players can be selfish, we know that. But I don't think Bruno done enough as a captain of Man United over the last year or two to help the manager out. Far from it. The proof's there with all the results. Not just down to Bruno, of course, but I don't think he showed enough leadership skills when the goings got tough with some of the performances. And I don't think Bruno should be too proud of himself of what's happened to the Man United manager over the last week or two, Ten Hag. I think I said it earlier, I think the players let the manager down, ultimately. But that's football and that's life. You have to move on and get ready for the new manager.
And Frank, similarly, you've been on both sides of that with changes of manager as a player and then as a manager yourself.
Yeah, and as a player, you have to get on with it. And that's why those interviews are hard. You almost don't really want to listen to it. I don't think it means too much. I think players will still say the similar thing. They'll know in their own, they should know within themselves whether they gave everything, etc. So I think that's sort of old news now. As a manager, it's a tough one because as a manager, when you leave a job, you might have reflections where you go, I wish you'd shown that passion, whatever, before. So I just think the important thing for Manchester United now, looking at the size of this football club, is that all the players now get together and they actively show a response to the new manager. When he comes in and he tells them this is the way we're going, go with it and follow all his idea and stay on top of yourself and on your game and no excuses and work together. That's what this football team needs to do now, because I'm watching that today and I think, how good are these players? How good is the what is it? Is it the idea that they've been told for the last 2 years that's left them like this, or is it them So it's a big question. So they've got to answer it as a group.
Yeah, we've all played under managers. I played under managers, I played under some great managers, but I played under managers who I didn't particularly like, let me tell you. But it wouldn't stop me for 1 second not going out and do my best for the team. Absolutely not. And that was the same with the lads I played with. I was very lucky. I was in some good dressing rooms. But this idea when a manager goes and players are saying, "Oh well, maybe we could have done more. Maybe we're sorry for that." To me, that's hard to. It's hard to listen to.
It's one thing not to like, right? And then it's one thing to actually not really to act and do it. You go out and you play. The idea of making an excuse about the manager, oh, it's his fault, the way he set us up. Look at what they're doing down the road, the way that they play. No, deal with what's in front of you, lads, and go out and show it now.
It's not even about liking the manager. People say it always helps if you like or respect the manager, but even if you don't, I think the bottom line, it goes back to it. The way you're brought up, or when you play football as a young kid, your own DNA should suggest that you're a good team player. That's why you play football. You're part of a team. You're not playing an individual sport. So when the going gets tough, you roll your sleeves up. You become a team player. And I'm not saying for 1 second it's about playing well every week. Far from it. But you roll your sleeves up. You become a team. You dig in. You grind out results. You win an ugly game. But this United team doesn't do it. And that's why obviously I'm very critical of them. But I'd love to sit there every week and watch Man United turn up and win 2 or 3. You just listen, absolutely amazing. Last year or two, you give them a little bit of praise when they're doing well in the cups. But Man United, we can't go back to Man United of the 80s where they're a cup team. The reason you sign and you play for Man United is that you turn up week in, week out, and you're consistent. That's the key to it. There's no point in saying, I'll turn up in a week or two after the manager gets sacked. I'll play for the new managers. There's a new system. No, forget that stuff. You still have to go and train with your teammates every day. So when you look at your teammates in the eye every Monday morning, or when you're training or in a game with 20 minutes to go, and you're on your knees and your hamstrings at you and you're under pressure going, let's dig in. Let's show what we're about. And if that is a Man United or Chelsea or Spurs or whoever you're playing for, you dig deep. That's your foundation of your career. You're going to be talented, you could be skillful, and if you win trophies, fantastic, it's a bonus. But ultimately, you're on a team in a dressing room with players who you're going, I'm in the trenches with these lads, let's go for it. I wouldn't want to be in the trenches with them players. I just wouldn't want to be. I don't see it. Do I know all these personally? Absolutely not. But I know my eyes don't lie to me. I see these players today, even they go 1-0 up today, you're thinking, are they going to see this game out? No. It's a set piece, not a poor header. People not getting out to people. 1-1, and then you have to hear chat after the game. Oh, a bit unlucky, the manager's late. New managers come. Hey, great. Happy days. No, far from it. You left the manager down there last week. And it's not about liking managers, because people are quick to throw at me going, oh, I fell out with managers. But I tell you, when I was out on the pitch, I didn't want to let them down, even if I despised them. And that's got to come down to your DNA. And these players haven't got the DNA, a lot of them, of a Man United player, in my eyes.
Look, it's only been 2 games for Ruud van Nistelrooy, one of them in the Carabao Cup, one of them today in the Premier League against Chelsea. But 10 games into this Premier League season, this is Manchester United's worst start with 12 points from 10 games. So if he's saying this is a good group of players who are giving everything on the pitch,
don't worry about the score. Don't worry about the results, because did he say they're great lads? That's key.
Good lads.
Yeah, they're all great lads. Don't worry about football results. Once they're all great lads. I'd rather work with bad lads who put a shift in and run. They're all great lads. They all can't be great lads. I know it's an awkward question for. He's not going to say they're not good lads.
He said a good group.
A good group.
Yeah.
Well, that's not great either, is it?
Yeah, and he's in a position as well.
Yeah, what's a good group?
If he keeps him, if Amarin comes in and says, you know what, I want to keep you, Ruud, as one of my assistants, he can't then turn around and say, no, they're not a good bunch of guys. He has to say that. He's got no choice. But I don't know what Amarin's plans are. Is he going to bring his own staff in? Is he going to maybe want Ruud van Nistelrooy in the staff as a number 2?
Well, look, let's take a look at Manchester United's big problem area, which is scoring goals. That's been a massive issue for them so far this season. It's been a bit longer term than that as well. So if this is their problem area, if they're 18th in terms of goals, 20th in terms of XG performance, so they're not creating the quality chances, and then when they get them, their shot conversion is 19, so they're not converting those chances either. And if it's a big chance, they're even lower again. So if that's your problem, do you then keep a club legendary striker on your books? Can that help?
I don't know. The best person to ask in this out of us three is a goal scorer. I mean, did you have someone to work with you with training? Did Didier Drogba have someone? Does that make a big difference if you had someone educating you or finishing?
I don't think it directly relates. And I'm not putting Ruud down there. I'm sure he's very, very capable of working with attacking players to finish, but any coach worth their salt should be. The thing that interests me when we look at the stats of that start, Is anyone really surprised that that's what the first 10 games look like from what last season? I know they won the FA Cup, I'm not holding that back, but I think this has been coming. I don't think there's anything really that anyone's particularly surprised about, because last season, when you look at how they were they good defensively? No. Were they that great attacking? Probably better than how they started this season, but still no. Have they addressed it with personnel that have come in to improve it? No. So are you really surprised about it now? So this is where now it is a fresh start. It has to be some sort of a line in the sand to turn the corner.
Yeah, but no matter who's coaching or managing, if you're missing... Well, if you look at the game last week at West Ham, the chances United should have scored definitely at least 3 or 4 goals in the first half last week. So whatever about having a brilliant striker like Ruud on your staff, whatever it might be, these are players, these are international players, and they're missing them chances. Today, listen, they weren't really clear-cut chances, but they were good chances. You're still thinking a top player might go, I just need half a chance. And we're not seeing that with this group. So I don't think that's necessarily down who you've got in the coaching staff. That's sometimes about, we mentioned earlier about looking at young Chelsea players, giving them a chance, but then there comes a point where you go, Man United can't keep waiting for these players to mature and say, he'll be good in 12 or 18 months. Maybe other clubs can, but Man United can't. And that's where the new manager will have to come in and identify that and say, listen, I have to get strikers in. And guess what that means? More recruitment, more players. And United have spent a fortune over the last 2 or 3 years, and their track record on recruitment's not been great. But this manager will have to come in, and if that continues, we'll say, I'll have to get a couple of attacking players in, strikers, maybe players he's worked with, and find more money.
But that hasn't gone down well buying players he worked with here, is it? Certainly with Ten Hag. That's been a problem. But the greatest comparison I suppose we can give is what happened with Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. They suffered for so long, 30-odd years without winning a title. And this is similar with what's happened at Man United. So when you saw what Klopp's team looked like to start with to what he got to in 2 or 3 years, it developed very, very quickly with good recruitment. The goalkeeper coming in, Alisson, Virgil van Dijk, Salah. But they were great in their recruitment. They didn't, that they were diligent. They spent well. They brought in players that could change the game for them.
And all of a sudden, they were patient, waiting for the right players.
But also good people. Good people that trained hard every day, set good examples. That's why it's been easier for Arne Slot. So he's got to have a couple of years at least. And that's why, obviously, with his contract situation, everyone's going, why only 2 years? He has to look at what he's got at his disposal. How many of these players are going to want to come with me? As Roy says, how many would you want to be within the trenches? If you looked at the 11, the squad today, I'm not sure there's too many you're going to see in a few years in that starting 11. I really don't. I think there's going to have to be a quick turnover. Now, I think Bruno said it himself, it's easier to sack managers to get rid of players, but I don't see too many there that you'll be going, he's at home watching that video today or watching it going, he'll do me. There's not many of them. And
we talk about the running, sorry, but it's also been smart you run. I don't mean you run around like headless chickens and everyone's covering 13 or 14 kilometres. You have to be smart with it, but when you are running and you're closing teams down, you do it as a team. It's all individuals just sprinting to somebody, they're playing around in the spaces, everyone. That's where they lack that. They don't look like a team at it. They're just all doing their own little bit.
And the issue, with scoring goals is that, talk about Jurgen Klopp and Mo Salah as an example, there's no way that Jurgen Klopp had to get Mo when he signed him to Liverpool and go, and what you do is you cut inside in that far top corner and do it again and then take him the other way and do that. You don't do that. What Jurgen Klopp's job is to set a team up and get the best out of his best players and give them an idea that you go, this is what they, and we all know what they were. That's great coaching. So this is what now the test for the new manager will be. You go, here I am, and if he can show progression to the end of the season, whatever that looks like, I think he'll have a good case to sit down in the summer and go, OK, owners, what are you going to support me because I need that, if you really want to go to the level. And the ones that haven't delivered, then they're not there. That would be the test for the coach.
Because I think you said you like Højlund, you said, but I have to be honest, it must be so hard playing as a centre forward in this team because you're working on scraps. You're not getting any supply line. There's no clever passes for you. He's having to wrestle against 2 defenders every time the ball comes up to him. So I don't really know what his level is. What's his ceiling? He had a good spell last year. I think he went 7 goals. He scored 7 in 7. And you thought, OK, he's turned the corner. But playing in this team, it's not easy for a centre-forward right now. So maybe with a bit more confidence and a different style or structure, we might see a better... Because there will be 1 or 2 that jump out at you that are going to surprise us all. But it's just hard to tell right now because they're so devoid of confidence.
What would you do if you were Amorim in terms of your coaching staff? Obviously, he'll have his own backroom staff that he wants to bring with him. Do you think he keeps Ruud van Nistelrooy?
That's a good question. I don't know. The truth is, I don't know, Kelly. If he wants... I always... But if Ruud was looking to get the job and he wanted the job, I personally would... I always think you want number 2s that don't want your job. I think you want to work with people that are just going to come in. They're your man. When you go on that bus on the way home and you've been chinned, they've got to feel every bit of pain you do. Not thinking, well, if we lose a few more, I might have a chance of getting a job. That's not what you want. And I see a lot of number twos that sort of hang around like bad smells. When managers get sacked, they stay there. That's not for me. I always think you get your staff that are going to be, they feel your pain every time you lose. So I don't know what Ruud wants to do.
I agree with all that. But we look back in the summer when there was changes in the background. Who brought Ruud to the club? Was it United? Was it the manager? Because there was a lot of changes in the background. So it depends on, does Ruud feel he's got loyalty to Den Haag? Or does he say, well, actually, it was the club that brought me in? But I agree. I think it's difficult when a new manager comes in. If he's bringing a lot of his own staff, maybe there won't be a place for Ruud. And maybe Ruud would be better off then stepping back, because it's not easy. If he feels any loyalty to Den Haag, I always feel it's difficult to stay on. But we mentioned loyalty last week. You want loyalty, obviously, we get a dog.
I think the manager, if he comes in with his own staff, which I sort of predict he will do, I would think if he's got a group that he's enjoyed working with and had success, he'll bring them in because I know his way. He'll feel like they've got his back. But I think what he has to do as well is breathe a lot of positive energy into this place. Because I'm looking here, as much as we're saying you need to run, he'll have to set down all those things. They need to run more and this stuff. But there needs to be, I don't think that people enjoying coming in and playing and enjoying going to work, get a sense that they're not. So I think he'll come in with a lot of sort of confident, fresh energy into the place. And then we'll see.
And there's always noises around Man United, and you hear about the background, the changes and letting people go and letting great servants of the club go and stuff like this. But you just worry also about the morale in the background, with the staff. You know, people are losing their jobs and pay cuts, and maybe that the energy has been lost at United a little bit. You don't feel it around the stadium, and, you know, again, a long way back on that side of it.
Frank, just more broadly, actually, rather than just this game against Manchester United, on Enzo Maresca and the way that he's started at Chelsea, I think we're starting to see an idea of what the overview of the owners is, that they want to bring through young talent and develop them. Do you think he looks at the moment like he's the right manager to be able to do that?
Yeah, certainly at the moment. I think there's been progression since he's come in. You can see what he's trying to do. I know he's talked about taking Gusto off there. I was surprised when he took him off, to be fair, but, you know, he's got his idea, but he's moving fullbacks into midfield. He does a similar thing. He's sort of very confident in his game, that you see the same thing week in, week out. And then he realised at the top end of the pitch of the individual and the players, and he's got wingers to choose from. The recruitment all of a sudden now looks more structured. There are 2 players for each position, a few different options from at the top end of the pitch. In important areas, he's finding combination that he likes in midfield and the back end of the pitch. So that's all good news for him. I guess the big over picture is, with the strategy of the younger players, is how far can they go quickly? Are we waiting for them to develop? Or are we waiting, you know, Cole Palmer's, he's out on his own because he's developed to the moon. Very quickly, and now we see Jackson has done that quickly as well. But when will we see Neto? Because Neto looks really exciting to me. When are we really going to see him go by and show that consistently? And those things, Madueke, when we consistently do that and go through the team.
Is that hard though, Frank? When you've got, like you mentioned yourself, you've got 2 or 3 players, and getting that rhythm in your game, if you're not sure if you're going to be playing or you're coming off if things don't go well after an hour.
I think it may be a secondary problem for him. From experience of managing as well, when you have a squad, people go, oh, that's great options. You've got 2 there and 2 there. But then they go, well, you don't know your best team, or keep picking your best team. And then the lads that are not playing, are sort of like they're coming in, and there can be a little bit of a doubt about. Sometimes you're better with a tighter squad where you go, these are my players at the top end of the pitch. So I do think at the moment he feels like he's found what is his best team, and I think that was pretty much it there today. But as it goes forward, will that change? But my point
First half or second half, Reece James right back, got to be right back, right?
Yeah, I think Reece is right back, but Gusto has done very well as well. So I don't think you have to have your best team. That's set in stone. I think there'll always be a couple of issues within the team. But I do think that to say the jury's out is the wrong turn of phrase. But we'll see. They're in 4th, and they've kind of quietly got to 4th. They're playing pretty well. When you look at it, they haven't won any big games necessarily this season yet. But you see in positive signs. But the next step is to go, maybe like we talk about this game, can you win that game when Manchester United is possibly there to be beaten? And they're not quite there yet. But there are definitely positive signs. And to the original question, yes, certainly, I think at this point. And they need to give him time to keep developing it.
And it's the youngest average age ever of a squad in the Premier League. They haven't played a player over 28 so far this season. And as you were saying earlier, and as somebody who's worked with young players and with young squads, that brings pros and cons with it.
Winning teams generally will need a balance of youth and experience. Now, Chelsea decided to go down the route of younger players. I think it's a good thing, but if it doesn't win you things, how long will that be a success story? So it remains to be seen whether that strategy changes slightly as they go forward, because most teams that you win, off the top of my head, the numbers, but you think of the great teams that won Premier Leagues regularly, you'll look at them and you'll say players that are experienced players. It'd be the group of players in the middle, sort of mid-20s, and you'll see the younger ones that are coming through that are striving to be those extra players. At the minute, they've got a lot of players in that same area that are sort of striving to be better, and that'll be the interesting thing about how far the team can go.
And there's a lot of talent there with him, but you still question mark over the goalkeeper. Do you think he's?
Yeah.
Do you like him?
Yeah. No, I think when you.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, I think with teams that have success, they have big personality, big goalkeeper. Good quality goalkeepers, and I mean, I think he's been better this year. I think he started this season better,
Slightly, yeah.
Well, let's start by talking about resilience, because over the last couple of seasons, since Ange Postecoglou took over at Spurs, they've won 34 points from losing positions. Only Manchester City have won more, and they're above Liverpool, Aston Villa, and then West Ham a little bit further back. You could look at it and say, well, there's a problem there's a problem in conceding first, but that would feel churlish after a 4-1 win. And when you look at the company that they're in as well, the fact that they're up there with Manchester City and Liverpool.
Especially after the Crystal Palace result last weekend, which was a disappointing one, and then to beat Manchester City in the Carabao Cup, and then today to be 1 down and come back in the manner they did. I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming at half-time. I thought Aston Villa were very comfortable. It looked like the team was, maybe if anyone was going to get another goal, it would have been with them. But second half, they showed energy. They lost a couple of players. He brought on Ben Davies, who showed a lot of experience and obviously was influential in that first goal. And then the ball, I think, obviously from Son is just beautiful, delicious pass into the box. You get one, and all of a sudden momentum. John McGinn touched on it. The crowd were up, and it's a difficult place to play once they start to get their tails up. They've got some good footballers in that team. Kulusevski was obviously heavily involved for Solanke's goal, and he's in great form at the moment. Played a brilliant ball for that. And they just look like a good side second half. But consistency is going to be the key. You can't have the performances like last weekend against Crystal Palace and then have that today, or the one when they beat West Ham. They've got to find that middle ground where they get more wins, because they've certainly got potential in the team.
Yeah, we're quick to criticise Spurs, obviously Spursy or whatever, but they showed a great reaction today. 1-1 against a good Villa team. They showed a bit of steel, a bit of quality, pace, good squad. Manager made good substitutions. No, listen, we have to give Spurs plenty of credit for today's second-half performance. Outstanding.
One of those substitutions was bringing Son off on 55 minutes, which is...
The lads were really critical of that, I thought. No, but Son wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy, and that's a huge call to bring Son, especially after he just put that ball in for Brennan Johnson
but he's
to
just
score.
come back from injury as well. But obviously you're thinking it's 1-1. You're making a big call there, but it worked out well. Obviously the manager knows the players. You trust the players to come off the bench. And Son was obviously not happy being taken off, but again, we go back to it's a squad game. He had to spit his dummy out a little bit.
I didn't like it, to be honest, because Richarlison comes on. What are you trying to, like you said, he comes on, makes a goal in his position, and he's trying to protect him, and I just thought it was a little bit, it was uncomfortable to watch, to be honest. Morgan Rogers came off. That was the one that probably changed the game, if anything, because once he'd gone off, the two forwards for Aston Villa didn't really get that momentum and understanding together, and they really missed him.
Dominic Solanke would say that he was one of the most significant game changers in that match with 2 goals there. But the fact that they paid the money for him over the summer, and it's taken him a while, but he will go to bed and sleep well tonight, you'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. As strikers do when they score goals, it's confidence. It's what it gives them. And off the back of a very good season last year for Bournemouth, where he scored a lot of goals. Everything that you're getting from him. We know about his pressing actions and how active he is. That's one good thing, but a striker needs to score goals. So lovely little diagonal run and a lovely composed finish.
A little bit of Dalglish.
Yeah.
Might be a Kenny.
Yeah.
A little dink.
Yeah, really composed. Sometimes that moment just comes to you at the last second. I think the keeper might make a little bit of his mind up, but he's composed enough to take it on well.
And it's a reminder that we always say football, the hardest part of football is scoring goals, putting the ball in the back of the net. So he'll sleep a lot better tonight. Huge boost for his confidence.
And a huge boost for Tottenham, as you say, coming off the defeat in the Premier League last weekend, but also following up their victory over Manchester City, which will have taken a bit out of them in midweek.
Tielemans tries to grab him, he's pulling it back, and he still gets into the box, shows that desire. And there the goals, getting that 6-yard box.
What Spurs were brilliant at today, they're pressing, really pressing well. And the pace and the quality, very simple. It's a simple game at the end of the day, isn't it? No, it is. You do it well, you do it at pace, very effective, and he gets a little tap in there.
We need to talk about Aston Villa as well, because their form is wobbled slightly, having started the season incredibly well. The last 3 games have not gone as well for them. They got the draw against Bournemouth, they were beaten by Crystal Palace, and now they've been beaten by Tottenham. Cause for concern, or the sort of natural flow of a season?
Well, at the start of the day, we're sort of waxing lyrical about Aston Villa, so it'd be very difficult of us to now say, well, they're having a bad time.
We're a game later, Jamie. The whole world's
that just
turned on
shows
its
you
head.
how football can change and how opinions change so quickly. Look,
They look very average the second half, didn't they?
They did,
But that's
yeah.
credit to Spurs. Villa were off.
they got
the
after
second half.
them and they're giving away the pass there when Pau Torres plays one at the midfield, and all of a sudden it starts to unravel very quickly. I think a big moment in that match was Morgan Rogers coming off. They lost a lot because he was carrying the ball. He gives you that outlet. He's such an important player for them. But no, it was a disappointment. Sometimes you can get beat 2-1, 3-1 even, 4-1. It was a bit of a chin-in for them, so they've got to bounce back from that very quickly.
Yeah, the way they allowed them to get to that stage was perhaps something that Naomi looked like he was desperate to get back and get into that analysis. Jamie, Frank, Roy, thank you very much for your company today. Let's take a look at what else is coming up for you on Sky Sports. And the live sport continues, of course. Everton against Chelsea is on right now. WSL action on Sky Sports Premier League. Fulham against Brentford is the Monday Night Football with Dimitar Berbatov from 6:30. One final look at the star of the show before.
Cardi B.
I feel like I'm MVP. It feels like a reward.
Oh, is it night cashmere?
I've been anointed. This is like when Messi won the World Cup. And thank you very much, everybody, for all of your company. Thank you especially for the fabulous knitwear as Manchester United held to a 1-1 draw by Chelsea. I'm going off for a cuddle.